Greetings, fellow action figure connoisseurs, and welcome to another episode of Digital Caveman Presents. I, as always, am your host, the Digital Caveman, and today I will be presenting you with the Transformers Studio Series 86, the Transformers the Movie, Leader Class Soundwave with Buzzsaw, Laserbeak and Ravage. Let's get into it! Let's start things off with a look at the packaging. And here on the top, the Transformers the Movie Decepticon Soundwave with Decepticons, Buzzsaw, Laserbeak, and Ravage. You can see they're Decepticons because they got the Decepticon logo right there. Takara Tomy, and a couple of pieces, well, one piece of tape, and then a little sliver of a window there, I suppose, to let light in from the top. Moving around to the front, we've got an Autobot logo here. More than meets the eye. Transforms back and forth in 28 steps, and it's for 8 and up. Nice big window on the front showcasing the figures, and not any of the accessories though. And then we've got some nice artwork, Laserbeak, Soundwave, and Ravage right there. Transformers Studio Series, the Transformers the Movie, Soundwave, and he's a Decepticon, along with Buzzsaw, Laserbeak, Ravage, Hasbro print. On the bottom, small print, fine print, legalese print, made in Vietnam print, symbols I'm not going to learn, and a barcode. Also includes 4 figures and 11 pieces. Ooh, that's a lot of pieces. So on this side, then we've got Soundwave. It says Soundwave, Transformers Studio Series, Transformers the Movie. On the other side, the artwork from the front kind of wraps around a little bit, and we get to see Autobot City Under Siege. And then a huge Autobot logo right there. Transformers Studio Series Leader Class. And finally, on the back, the Transformers the Movie Soundwave. Soundwave sends his cassette troops on a spy mission. And then there's a still from the movie. And here we have probably digital renders of Buzzsaw, Laserbeak, and Ravage. And then a digital render, most likely, of Soundwave in both modes. Again, transforms in 28 steps. More than meets the eye, authentic, with the Autobot logo on it. Warning! Attention! Octoon, don't stick things in any language pie hole that do not belong there. Don't give it to babies. Recycle this stuff. Small fine, legalese, made in Vietnam print. That number and Hasbro print. That, my friends, completes our look at the packaging. Let's take a look at the figures and accessories in their alt mode. And first up, let's take a look at the cassettes. And I've used that term loosely because other than a vague shape and these spindle pieces right here, they don't really much look like a cassette. And so they do have the right colorations to them. Got some silver right here with the Decepticon logos on them. And again, it's got those molded in like spindles from the tapes. Seem a little wide, maybe. Wide, thick. So, alright, that was Buzzsaw. And his accessories are this little piece right here. And a left and right blaster with engine. And I have to say, they do have nice molded details in it. And it's just a gray color going on there. You can see it's got a post right there and a post right there. And what this middle piece is for is that post on the side. Goes right in there with this post pointing backwards. And the other one, it's exactly the same, only for the opposite side. And again, nice molded details in it. And the 2 posts. And it just plugs in on the other side of that. So Laserbeak's is pretty much the same, exactly the same as a matter of fact. So we'll just put them together now. We won't have to do it later. So that's how those go together. Now we come to Ravages, and this is the rear section of the robot mode of Ravage. So here's his tail, and it's on a hinge, and then he's got a port on each side and a post right here, and then a tab right here. And when we go to transform him, we'll show you what all that is for. So here are the rockets, and I'm just going to put it in place and not even show it off. So here's his rockets. They're a nice silver paint app. They do have nice molded color on them. Waffly on the inside, just like Laserbeak and Buzzsaws. And then it's got a post on here that fits into the ports on his backside. And then that's how that works. And then we didn't take a look at Laserbeak. So just like Buzzsaw, only red. And then here's Ravage. And again, you know, I think they really failed at cassette mode other than the basic shape, and it fits in Soundwave. So there's that. So Soundwave itself, let's see. The tapes do fit. And we'll just do one of these. Because they're both the same, so they fit in there. The birds are a little bit tight. So let's take a look at Soundwave himself. He's got this nice border here and these two stripes on either side. It would have been nice if they'd have gone on a little bit more. It's got some nice silver paint apps there for the buttons, and then a nice tampo there for the Decepticon logo. You got molded in speakers right there. I say speakers, it's just molded to look like them, of course. Right and left they're labeled. And from the front side it looks pretty good. From the top it starts getting a little bit messy because you can see, of course, his weapons right there. I miss the original Soundwave where he had that piece that slid up with the belt attachment, you know, the belt clip on it, and the weapons went inside, and then you closed it up and they were hidden. And then the bottom, super messy. So I don't think you'll be looking at it that way. Now I will say I think they've done a better job for the sides, at least right here. Now, you know, right there, that's debatable, and for the other side as well. And then the back side is not horrible, but you know, you can tell it's not strictly a cassette recorder. It's got more buttons back here with paint apps on them. He does have the paint apps right here around the wrist area. He's got two ports right there. It's got some nice paint apps right here, nice silver right here. And again, it looks really, really good, just like from the front. It looks great. And I think the sides aren't, you know, that part of the side is not bad. I think it's the best they've done in a main line in a long time. Well, yeah, for Soundwave at least. So, well, there you have it, my friends. Oh, look at the figures and accessories, except for Soundwave's accessories, because they're part of his alt mode. So we'll take a look at those later. So, but there you have it. That's a look at the figures and accessories in alt mode. It's time for alt mode comparisons, and here we have Transformers Studio Series 86, the Transformers the movie, Leader Class Soundwave with Buzzsaw, Laserbeak, and Ravage, with the Transformers War for Cybertron Trilogy Kingdom Core Class Soundwave with his little non-transformable Laserbeak. And then we have the Transformers Legacy United Leader Class Soundwave with Buzzsaw, Rumble, and Ravage. For our last set of alt mode comparisons, here we have the Transformers Studio Series 86, the Transformers the movie Leader Class Soundwave with Buzzsaw, Laserbeak, and Ravage, with the Transformers Titans Returns Legends Class Bumblebee, and the Amazon exclusive Transformers War for Cybertron trilogy Earthrise Leader Class Alternate Universe Optimus Prime. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the comedy portion of our program where I attempt to transform these Transformers. And we'll start off with the one that's probably going to give me the hardest time, which is Ravage. So, no, that's not where you want to start. You're supposed to start up here, flip those two pieces to make his extra large head. And there I go bumping the camera because it's Digital Caveman Presents review. So then you want to lift these two pieces out, which are his front legs, and then rotate this backwards. Then you can rotate these like that and put the legs into place. They kind of sort of lock into place here on the front. At least these corners go around the other corners, if that makes sense. Then you want to straighten these out and fold those down. And then you do that right here at the middle. Just adjust him a little bit. He adjusts here at the thing too, so his butt's way up in the air. And then the last piece, you want to put his tail on him, and you'll see that there's, maybe you can see it, I'm just bumping everything. So handy dandy pin light. So there you can see that slot right there, and you take that tab, not this post, that tab, and it goes into that slot, and then you got this big post sticking up here for whatever reason. So alright, we'll move him out of the way. Now let's do Laserbeak. So the first thing you want to do is these flaps with the silver on them. Fold them all the way out. Then these pieces you fold up under. Then you move the wings back. And then you flip the head up. The head and the neck. And I can't get it with my fingers. Still didn't get it. There. That got it. So lift that up, and there's that. And then you take his little jetpack, and you'll notice that there's two ports right there, and these two posts right here. You just line those up. And give them a nice little push. And there you go. He's all transformed. And it's pretty much the same thing. It's exactly the same thing with Buzzsaw. And then again, you get the pack that's already put together. Line up the ports and the posts, give it a nice little push, and there we have it. Now let's take a look at Soundwave's transformation. If I can remember how to do it, because I've only done it once to put him in alt mode. So let's pull these flaps back. And then the arms have to come untabbed. You can see there's a tab right here, and there's an open slot right here, and that's the same on both sides. So you just want to make sure you get those loose. And then I think you flip this piece up and fold these pieces on these hinges in. And you leave that up for the time being. And then you'll want to untab the legs. There's a tab right here and a slot right here at the end of the stripes. And then you straighten those out. Then you can put that flap back down. Turn the legs this way. And then you want to open these up. And then this piece right here flips in. And then you can flip the foot out. Hopefully I didn't scratch it. And then while you got this open, you want to reach in there and push the knee thing out. See, it was in like that, and you have to push it out like that. And I think you can fold that piece in. Then you have to fold that piece in. Then rotate the foot like so. So that it's facing forward like, you know, normal. Again, open that up. I guess you could flip the foot out before you close this panel up. That might make it a little easier. And push the knee. Close this, close this. Alright, that's it for the legs. And we can go ahead and turn him at the waist. So there we have it. You'll notice right here on the shoulders, there's a tab right there and a slot right there. Just put those in place on both sides. Then we can untab these. And I forgot to show you that there's a slot right here in the gun and there's a tab in the panel. So they close like that. And as you can see, I'm having a little wiggle problem there getting that gun out. And the reason is, if you look at this port right here, it's round and then it's got a wing on each side. That's what you want to call it. And the way that the post here is shaped, you can see that it's a post with wings on it, and so it doesn't rotate while it's in there. And then the other side, it just comes off. It doesn't have that piece on it, but the slot is still the same, so you can use this pieces for either side. So this piece lifts back, and then you can flip the head up and then close that back, and you'll hear a little snap as you get it into place. I don't know if y'all could hear that or not over the mic. Oh, I forgot to rotate that foot. Imagine that, I forgot something in a transformation. So then these flaps right here, you just close them back all the way like that. Then, ooh, I'm trying to open it the wrong way. Then you open his arms up right here. And you can see his hands in there. And you... There we go. Flip the hands out. And then close that back up. Same thing over here on this side. And close that back up. And we're almost done with his transformation. And of course, you know, you could leave him like this and say, oh, that's his transformation, but it's not, because to me, that is an essential piece of Soundwave's look. And then this piece transforms. So you push this silver nub back here to where you can get a hold of this silver part and pull that out, and then it'll just go into his hand. So there's him, all transformed. There's Ravage, all transformed. Laserbeak, all transformed. And Buzzsaw, all transformed, my friends, without a whole lot of comedy, unfortunately. Let's take a look at the figures and their accessories in robot mode. So, like we did before, we'll start off with the cassettes. And here we have Ravage, and first of all, look how wide that head is. And this, nothing about this says lithe and sneaky to me, which is what Ravage is supposed to be. But yeah, that's for later on, I guess. So we've got nice silver paint app on the hip rockets. We've got some nice silver paint app right here on both sides with a Decepticon tampo on it. And again, that's on both sides. I think there might be a little spot of red paint for the eye. Yes, there is, and I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but it is in there. Now, as far as his articulation goes, the ball joint here, the hinge here, you know, you can get some stuff, but it's pretty much he has to stay scrunched up like this, I think. The front legs will go back some till they hit this L-shaped bracket corner piece, and they go forward that far again till they hit the corner. And that's on both sides. And then the hinge right here doesn't go back any, it goes forward that far. And then on the rear legs, that's really as far back as they go, and they kick forward that far. And then you've got some tilt on his tail. It'll go down all the way, it looks like, and then it goes up that far. And then the missile pods, you can rotate them all the way around if you want, and of course they are removable because you have to stick them in there. So there's Ravage. Let's look at Buzzsaw next. And again, the head seems really fat, and I don't know what it is. He's got a little bit of color there for the eye, and I think it's the same color as the body. I don't know how well you guys can see that, but it is there. I do like the coloration on him. And then, you know, nice silver on the wings and the Decepticon logos. And then, you know, these pieces really take me back to those, you know, the original G1 jetpack laser pieces that attach to it. This piece, of course, they didn't have on the original. And I don't know what this port is for, if anything. So I don't really know why it's there. I know why this piece is there. It's to, you know, bridge these two. And that's fine. As far as his articulation goes, the feet with the wings out can give you that much of the splits. The wings can fold down. The neck only goes forward that far. It'll go back all the way because that's part of transformation, and the head tilts up. So as far as articulation goes, it's not a lot going on here, but of course, you know, on previous modern versions of it, there's not a lot going on. articulation wise either. And basically Laserbeak here is the same. You can see the color in his eyes a little bit better, and Buzzsaw's is the same color. And then the main part of his body's red because he's Laserbeak, and then the silver with the Decepticon tampos on the wings. Other than that, everything else is exactly the same. Now this piece, I will say, this piece feels like it's metal, and that's on both. So it feels like the body piece is metal. I could be wrong, but that's really what it feels like to me. And if I am wrong, I'm sure somebody will tell me in the comments. Now let's move on to Soundwave, and we'll take a look at his accessories first. Here's his shoulder cannon, and it's quite cool looking. It looks like it might be a little on the short side, but just like the width on the head of the birds, I could be thinking more of the toy than the cartoon. It's got this nice red stripe on it. It's got all those nice little red paint apps for the rockets there. So I really like this piece, other than this a little short maybe. And same thing on this one. This is about the same length. So there's that. Again, it's got that red stripe. Here it's got silver for this part, which it should have. And then, you know, on the back of it when it's transformed, it's silver back there too. And then this piece, I guess you could put it in his shoulder if you wanted to, but it would stick up quite a bit because of these wing pieces. And I don't know exactly why they put those there. Maybe I'm missing something. So let's take a look at Soundwave now. And first off, no light pip for the eyes, but they do have a nice red color. And then it's kind of a silvery gray for the face plate and the pieces of his face that you can see. And then, you know, this face plate is screwed on. We've got the red around just above the wrists. We've got this, which I'm guessing is yellow. If it's not, I'm colorblind. I make fun of handicapped people. And it matches up with these two stripes on this side. Silver for the buttons, also for his butt buttons. So this part of his arm is supposed to match up with this, I suppose, but it's not painted. It's just like a gray plastic. So I hope it doesn't yellow like some of the other mainline Transformer plastic. And it matches up the legs here. We've got a little bit of that silvery gray color here that matches up with the faceplate and the buttons here. Now these buttons are a little bit different. They're more of a silver and less of a gray, where these are more of a gray and less of a silver. Then we've got these yellow pieces there in the knee, and then we've got this, and this matches up. And then there's silver for the feet, which again is like the buttons on his butt. They're more silver than they are gray. So that's pretty cool. And I will say, you know, I do like the cartoon aesthetic of this figure. Now let's take a look at his articulation. He looks up that high. He doesn't really look down. No chicken neck. He's got a little bit of waggle in there. He can do the full Exorcist. At the shoulder, wow, he gives you way past 90 degrees worth of raise at the shoulder. 360 degrees worth of rotation. It looks like he has a double hinged elbow, but it's not. At least it doesn't work like a double hinged one. Works like a single hinged one, and it gives you approximately 90 degrees, maybe a little bit better bend there. There is a cut at the upper bicep, 360 degrees worth of rotation there. Then at the wrist, there's 360 degrees of rotation, and yeah, I guess it can go out that, but that's part of transformation. So, and then he does have some bendable fingers. They're all connected together. The pointer finger is not separate, pinned right there. So it opens that much and it closes that much. Pretty much the same on this side. Open and close. At the waist, 360 degrees worth of rotation. At the hips, he can give you the full splits plus. These flaps will rise up out of the way somewhat and allow him to kick forward that far. And then back, this whole piece will flap up out of the way, and he gets more back than he does forward. So that's, dang it, I mashed the knee in. So that's, you know, that's weird. But anyway, it is what it is, I suppose. Then there is a cut right here in the upper thigh on a mushroom peg. 360 degrees worth of rotation there. Single hinge at the knee, and it gives you approximately 90 degrees worth of bend. And there I mashed it in again. Dang it. And I didn't even push it out and it went in further. So that's weird. So at the ankle, it tilts down very slightly. It tilts up. Oh wow. Because of transformation, it'll tilt up that far. So you can play around with that and see what you get. And then rocker, it rocks in a little bit better than 90 degrees, but not by much. And then of course, he does have full foot rotation due to transformation. Now as far as his weapons go, and I think I showed this before when I transformed him, his missile pod goes up there on his shoulder. You don't really have to open his hand to put the gun in there. So there's that. And then, you know what I forgot to talk about, but I talked about it earlier. The Decepticon tampo there, and this little bit right there, which is raised up. I can feel it. Not the Decepticon. Well, I can, but it's a tampo. This is molded detail. So that's very cool. And that, my friends, is a look at all these guys in their robot modes. It's time for my favorite part of a Transformers review, robot mode comparisons. And here we have the Transformers Studio Series 86, the Transformers the movie, Leader Class Soundwave with Buzzsaw, Laserbeak and Ravage, with the Transformers War for Cybertron Trilogy Kingdom Core Class Soundwave, and the Transformers Legacy United Leader Class Soundwave with Buzzsaw, Ravage and Rumble. For our last set of robot mode comparisons, here we have the Transformers Studio Series 86, the Transformers the movie, Leader Class Soundwave with Buzzsaw, Laserbeak and Ravage, with the Transformers Titans Returns Legends Class Bumblebee, and the Walmart exclusive Netflix War for Cybertron Trilogy, Earthrise Leader Class Optimus Prime. For final ramblings on the Transformers Studio Series 86, the Transformers the movie, Leader Class Soundwave with Buzzsaw, Laserbeak and Ravage, I have to say the Soundwave isn't bad, okay? It's a little bit better than I expected it to be. The colors, the look of it, it's just very cartoon accurate, in my opinion. Your mileage, of course, may vary. Now, where this set really fails, in my opinion again, is the quote-unquote tapes. First of all, none of them look like tapes when they're in their alt mode. You know, they don't have any of that graphic or stickers or anything like that on them to give them that tape look, and I think it's a real detriment to these figures in their alt mode. Now, to their credit, they all fit in Soundwave, and all of the previously released modern era tapes, like the Siege and the Earthrise stuff, they all fit. The 86 Rumble and Frenzy fit. So it's, they're all cross compatible that way, which is good. Now, as far as the robot modes go, I already talked about Soundwave. He looks really good. Ravage looks like a robot turd, in my opinion. This is just not even close. It doesn't look anything like the animation. At least with Buzzsaw and Laserbeak, they look kind of like their animation. But Ravage is just so far off, and I don't understand why. Because the engineering is available. They just need to remake the G1 in this scale, and it would be, in my opinion, perfect. Maybe not perfect. He might still be a little flat, but there's not a lot you can do with that. He turns into a rectangle. But it's like it baffles me that he's so wide. This is supposed to be kind of a lithe character who sneaks around easily, and this figure is bulky, and they even, the missile pods and stuff even come off of him. And that was one thing I said on my friend Raziel Kane Reviews live stream that I was on probably about a month ago is the time of this recording, is that if they made the missile pods removable, they could get it right. But the missile pods are removable, and they still didn't get it right. And what is this thing sitting on his back that his tail is attached to, that the missile's attached to? It's just, I don't know what is going on with this thing, because that is not Ravage. And modern stuff, other than maybe the Masterpiece, and the Masterpiece, it looks more like the original toy than the cartoon, and that's fine with me. But even the Siege and Earthrise versions of Ravage were just not great. I'm wondering if they were even good. It's mind-boggling that they've done this figure so many times and just can't get it right. It's inexcusable at this point. I'm saying that just as an angry toy collector without any knowledge of engineering and toy design and that kind of stuff. But it just really feels like a subpar piece that they didn't even really try on. They're just like, okay, let's kind of make him look like a cat, and he can do this and that, and his butt sticks up, and so that part of it I'm really disappointed in. Buzzsaw and Laserbeak a little less so, but still, I feel like this. What was it? The Legacy United Buzzsaw, which was the Netflix Earthrise Laserbeak as well. I think they kind of did it better. They, if they'd have done something similar to that, but just added the backpack, I mean, it would have been almost perfect. So I don't know. Soundwave superior, but his minions inferior. And, you know, again, I like the color on this guy. It's a toss-up for me now because I don't know which one is going to win the spot in my display, because I like the cartoon look of this, but I like the toy look of the Legacy United Soundwave. And it's so it's going to be a tough choice. I think 86 is probably going to win out. I don't know about the tapes yet. I'll probably use all of these in the display just to keep all the cassettes 86 now. And oh Lord, I hope they do something else with Ravage where he's not in a leader pack. You know, and I know they're not doing core class stuff now, so I don't know, you know, can we get something at a $10, $15 price point? Not that I want to pay $15 just for a little Ravage, but that would beat paying $60 for a leader class to get another Ravage. And I think everybody should be able to send in their proof of purchase and get a free Ravage that's corrected, rather than the piece of crap that they put in this. And you know, I knew it was a piece of crap when I bought the thing. I knew I was going to be disappointed in it. I just didn't know how disappointed I was going to be in it. And you know, the birds are better. The heads to me are too wide. But again, I may be thinking more toy than cartoon on that. Their heads could have been wide, but I don't really remember their heads being real wide in the cartoon. But you know, that maybe that's just nitpicking, but maybe it's not. Now I will say, for this Soundwave's alt mode, like looking at it dead on front and center, it looks much better than previous versions. It gets a little kibbly as you go around it. I do think, like, the front sides where the legs fold in, I think they work much better than previous versions. And so alt mode is pretty good on this one, I'd have to say. As far as Soundwave goes, again, the cassettes don't really turn into cassettes, they just turn into rectangles. So I don't know, maybe I'm just being too critical. Am I being too critical? Let me know in the comments. I don't think I'm being too critical. Well, that does it for the review. I hope you enjoyed it. I mostly enjoyed making it. Only support from viewers like you make this programming possible. Each view does count, and I do appreciate each and every single view I receive. Thank you, and thank you so very, very much for supporting this channel through viewing. If you are interested in supporting my channel further, I'm now offering memberships at various tiers. Click the join button on my YouTube page, or check this video's description for the link and see if any membership offers are right for you, but only if you are in a position to do so. Comment below, like, share, subscribe if you would like to see more content or just help the channel grow, or both. That's even better. And don't forget to ding that bell so that in the future you will be notified as my new content becomes available. That's a wrap, folks. I'll see you next time.